Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So what remains now is to put our project inside a container. Okay, so far what we have is that our point of sale works just fine. The only problem is we have to install XAMPP wherever we go on the client's computer in order for this to work. Now, if you're going to put this thing online, right, for multiple users, let's say your client has a shop where they want to be using this point of sale, but they want to connect several shops together, right? So they want to have one database, and then they'll have separate shops that will send data to the same database. So in that situation, you're going to put it on an online server, and you can skip the step that we're going to do here. However, if the client has only one shop, right, and then you want to they only have one shop, which means actually, even if they have several shops, I think you can still use this application format. The only difference is that you can have your database on an online server. So that is also possible, because as long as you have, let's go to the, let me show you something here. So if we go to the core and config, oh, this is not the place, is it? Well, what did I do here? Database, right? So this is where we have the connection items for the database. Now, I think I left them here, but it would be a good idea to convert these guys and put them in the config file. That way you don't have to edit the database.php file. So I'll show you how to do that. But what I wanted to show you is that if you have an online server, if you create a MySQL database there, it's going to have a host name. So you're going to have a host name, you're going to have the database name, you're going to have the username and a password. So as long as I enter these items in here, it doesn't matter if my application is on my local machine. For as long as I have internet connection, I will connect to an online database, okay? Even though I'm using localhost, all right? So keep that in mind. You can connect to a remote server and use that for your database. This can be useful if you have you want to merge the data that comes from all the shops that your client owns, right? That way you have a central system for your information. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But then at the end of the day, we can still put our whole project into a container, so that instead of opening a browser like this, we can instead load a Windows application and then open it that way. All right, so even though the database can be remote or can be local, it will still work. All right, so let's see how we can do that. Now, to do the things we want to do, we need a few applications. The first one is PHP. This one is PHP Desktop, right? So there's PHP Desktop. Let's open that. So just do a Google search for PHP Desktop and look for the link that has GitHub, because there's a GitHub situation here. So yeah, so this is the thing here. This is PHP Desktop by this awesome gentleman here. 1,000 thanks for creating this. So he created an application in C++, and then he made it run PHP that way. So it's really a browser that runs PHP, but because it's your personal browser, you can rename it and give it names that you want. That way it looks like a Windows application. Okay, so if you scroll down here, you can go to where it says downloads, and then there's a Windows version here. So if we were to open this, we have currently version 57, which hasn't changed in like 3 years. So I'm thinking it still works. So PHP Desktop for version 57 for Windows. So once you get here, now of course if you have a different system, you download the one that suits your system. I don't know, there's Linux version. No Mac release yet, so sorry about that. If you're a Mac user, in this situation, you just have to rely on a browser to deploy your point of sale to the client. So you can forget about these parts that we're going to do that pertain to PHP Desktop. Okay. So once we get here to the download page, you can get this one here. So these are the assets. No need to get the source code, but I guess you can do that if you want, but these are C++ files. What you want is the this one right here, which has the Windows. Wait a minute, is this the right? Yep, I think it's the right thing. Okay, so once you have that, this is what you get. So you get, let's go here to, I'm not sure. There we go. So I downloaded it right here, version 57. So I'm going to extract it using what we normally use to extract here. What's that? Archive, zip archive, something. I don't even remember what. WinZip. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we go in here. This is what we've extracted, and this is how it looks like. Okay, so if you have this, we are good to go. And there's PHP Desktop Chrome right here. So you can rename this application to suit your needs. Okay, so if it's a point of sale, we can rename it to point of sale something. But for now, let's just open this, okay, real quick. And this is what happens when you open it. So as you can see, there's PHP Chrome Desktop. It looks like this. So if you open it like that, this is what it looks like. So this is a PHP file that has been loaded, okay? It's been loaded in here on the Windows application. So whatever files you put in here, they could be simple PHP files. They're going to work like this. So here, as you can see, it says it has PHP version 7.13, right? So it's PHP Desktop version 57.3, sorry. And it's got the Chrome version. So this is the Chrome version that it has. So which means your JavaScript will work accordingly to what the Chrome version is. So if there are new latest updates, they may not work if this one is outdated. So you have to keep that in mind as well. This is for your JavaScript because this is the Chrome extension that really runs the browser. Okay, so here what I'm looking at is PHP version, which is 7.13. So this is a little bit far from what I have. Right now I have version 8.14, I think. So that's what I was using to create this program. So I want to update my PHP version here on this application, and likely it can be done. I tried it and it actually worked. So let's see how we can actually do that. So we'll close this for now. Let me close that. Even the other thing closes. So what we'll do is let's rename this because we can rename this without a problem. So we're going to just say my point of sale, POS, like that. And let's open it again. And as you can see, it doesn't change what it's written here. It still says PHP Desktop Chrome. So we want to be able to edit those things. And the good news is it's easy to edit because we have settings.json. So there's a JSON file here, and let's go ahead and drag that file and load it into our text editor. So as you can see, there's a main window settings here, and this is the title. So we're just going to change that to my point of sale. So let's capitalize that, my point of sale. And so there's there are things you can change here. Let's see here. For example, debugging, show the console. So if I say false here, for example, it won't show that console that came on. So if I save this and go back, where are we? Right here. So if I now try to open this, you see that it now says my point of sale. And as you can notice, the console did not open with it because I disabled that as well. And then it opens up as a small window like this. So if you want it to be full screen, of course, you can change those settings. They are right here. So the default size is here, minimum size, but what we want is start maximized is at false. Let's try it at true. You can also put the full screen. Now full screen removes the these buttons here, the minimize and etc, etc. Just in case you're building a game, for example, a JavaScript game, you may want it to look full screen. But let's look at the differences, shall we? So if I now open this is the wrong folder. Okay, so there we go. If I open this, there you go. It starts out as a maximized, right? But let's try full screen, shall we? Let's see the difference. Start full screen, and I'm going to say true. And if I come back and open that, you see now that I don't see my minimize, maximize buttons there at all. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind. So I'm going to close it using Alt F4. Okay, so that's how you do it. So you can change these settings as you wish. So I'll leave the maximized, but not the full screen. Always start on top is always a good thing as well if you are creating a game, for example, so that it always covers the full screen and it's always on top. So these are things you can use to make the user experience a little bit better. And then these are for the server. So it looks for PHP files. This is what the interpreter is. That's the file name, which these things rarely change at all. The www directory is called www, so you can change that if you want, and the home page is index.php. Okay, so the rest of the settings are good, so I'm going to leave these settings out. Now, once we've done that, let's go to the same folder that has our project, right? My point of sale. And if we open the www folder, you see there's a lot of PHP files here. So in here, because we can always extract a new one if we want these files, I'm going to go ahead and delete all files from the www folder by using Shift Delete, like so. And then here I'm just going to create a very new text file. I'm going to call it index.php and remove the .txt extension. That way it's a PHP file. And I'm going to drag and drop it in my project. And I'm just going to say h1 here because I want to put an h1 and say this is my website. So done just like that. In the www folder we just have now one PHP file, and that is it. Oopsie, you know, I shouldn't have done that already, but yeah, I've done it, so it's okay. Let me open this, and as you can see, this is my website. This is as simple as it gets. Now you can run a website from an application, a Windows application like that. So you can put your CSS files, everything as it was in here, and it will run just like it's a normal desktop application. It's that simple. But because I wanted to show you something else, I wanted to show you an upgrade of the PHP file. So we're going to extract this again. So what I'll do is I'm going to delete this extraction that I did and extract it one more time. So extract to PHP Desktop. So once it's done, I'm going to go and open that again. And so I have the files here in the www folder, but then I have this PHP folder, right? So if I open this, this is where the PHP interpreter actually lives. So you can see this is the file extension of the interpretation, and these are the files. There's php.exe here. So which means if I replace this folder with another version of PHP, it should work, right? Well, let's try that, shall we? So what we're going to do is in a Google search, we're going to do, wait, what am I trying to do here? Let's go to php.net because that's the official PHP website. So I'm just going to open that in a new tab, and let's go over here and we'll click on downloads. Wait, download PHP 8.14 is released. Great news, huh? Okay, so what I'll do is go to the downloads folder, the downloads tab, and here I'll go for Windows downloads. None of this. And on the Windows downloads here, we're going to look for, so this website is windows.php.net. That's the subdomain /download. So this is the latest version here, 8.1.5. So just click on the zip folder here, click on that and download this one. It's about 29 MBs. So I already did that, of course. So where is that? It's in here. So this is PHP 8.1.5, this one right here. So I'm going to extract this to the named folder as well. So this is what I get, right? If I open this, I get similar files as I saw in the other folder that came with PHP Desktop. So what I'll do instead is I'm going to rename this to just PHP folder. So rename that, remove everything apart from that, leave it as PHP. Then I'm going to cut this folder, go inside my PHP Desktop, and I have this folder right here, right? Make sure you closed the application. Let's rename the folder this one, because usually we don't want to delete right away. We want to rename it so that in case we have a problem, we can just rename it back. Now I'm going to paste my new PHP folder, which is this one. So just like that, we've replaced our PHP version. We have PHP 2 here, which contains the old version, but we've added the new one. So let's try and open this and see if it's going to show that we have a newer version of PHP. So there we go. And as you can see now, it says PHP version 8.15. So things have actually worked. We have managed to upgrade our PHP for PHP Desktop. Very good. Okay, so let's close that. Let's rename it back to what we had done before. And this is my point of sale. And then I'm going to go in I'm going to delete this PHP 2 now because I really don't need it. So permanently delete. Then let's change a few JSON settings here again. So first of all, we're going to need wait a second. Okay, so we're going to need to change the title back to my point of sale. You can put the company name there that you are making this point of sale for, and set of the screen true, start maximized, yes, true, that's what I want, and yes, this is gonna work. Very good. Now keep in mind that this application is not running Apache. Okay, so don't make the mistake of thinking this is running Apache. So like I said, if we open this, let me go down to, okay, it doesn't show here, but this one runs a server called Mongoose. This is what it runs here. So it runs a Mongoose server, not Apache. So what this means is that if you have htaccess files, they're not going to work on this system. So just avoid using htaccess files. You really don't need htaccess files on this because it looks like a Windows application. Because once you open it like this, you really don't see the paths to the pages. So it doesn't matter what the paths look like. So even if the URLs are terrible, it doesn't really matter because no one will ever see them anyway. Because usually we put htaccess files to change the URL system and so on. So you really don't need that anymore. This is why if you look at my project, we're not really using clean URLs. We're just writing using the question mark, equal signs in there and so on, because that's going to be hidden anyway. Okay, so once we've reached this point, we have a running application. So what I'm going to do is go back here and change the name here. I'm just going to rename this folder to my point of sale. Okay, so this is my application now. It's a Windows application and we can open there. So I can copy this and put a desktop shortcut to this one. So I can just say create shortcut. And once I have that shortcut, I can rename the shortcut, remove the word shortcut at the end and the exe there. Then I can cut this out and put it on my desktop, right? Do I have a desktop here? Well, let me just click there and add it to my desktop. Okay, so now you can just open this thing from your desktop like here and just go there and just double click And there we go. Oh, by the way, let me remove the, where is that? Oh no, I am lost. Oopsie dipsy. Okay, back to XAMPP, and where are we? Point of sale. Wait, what do I want to do here? Oh, I need to go to PHP folder. Okay, so I'm looking for the folder that has my application, which is in here, my point of sale. Okay, so what I wanted to do was remove some settings here. So move that back to settings. I want to remove the, what's that? The console. So show console false. The console is useful if there's some errors when starting the application. So to show what it's doing, then you can use that to debug. But if you don't understand C++, it's useless anyway. So there we go. And we have a console, because as you can see, the console shows you what it's doing until it launches the application. So close that. Closing the console will close the application as well. So unless you set it in such a way that it doesn't open the console at all. Okay, so there we go. Everything seems to be working fine. Now we just need to transfer our website into this particular page here so that we can run it from this Windows application. Okay, so let's do that in the next video.